Hi guys, Sarah here. Things have been going pretty well so far. Right after I finish this discussion board, I will actually be heading over to UTEP so that I can go and cut out the back of my panel boards, so I'll be able to hang them on the walls. And then I'll actually be going to the mall with one of my friends so that we can go do some clothes shopping. And other than that, things have been going pretty good. One of my art pieces is actually going to be set up in the fine arts third floor in the art section or art department section. So that's really exciting, and I'm very happy that that's going to be happening. So, yay! For the discussion board today, the composer that I chose was Anton Vierburn, and there's a couple of reasons why I picked them, but firstly, I went through Spotify to see what kind of music that they liked. Um, I believe his name was Bella Bella Bartok. I'm not entirely sure, but it was his music that had a lot of views on Spotify. Most of his most popular ones were up in the millions, and some of them were even like in 11 million views. And while I thought that was cool and interesting, when I looked at Anton's work, there was something that stuck out to me that one of his pieces, most of his pieces weren't as popular, 200 something views around, but this one had 2 million, 2,700,000 views. But it was very short, it was only 32 seconds. So eventually I ended up sticking with him because I wanted to know more about that piece because it struck me as odd. But I shall tell you some of the things I learned about this guy when I went to the Oxford articles I found on him. He is part of the second Viennese school, and if you watch the Schoenberg Schoenberg videos, you know that he was a part of it as well. And in his early life, family was minor Austrian nobility. He used to have the von in his name, which is a sign of nobility, but in the new Austrian government, that was replaced. That had to be taken out. He attended school in Vienna, Graz, and Klagenfurt, and studied piano and the cello under a man named Edwin Kumar. But he went to college in 1902, went to the University of Vienna, and studied musicology under a man named Guido Alder, who is apparently pretty well known and famous person. I didn't get to do much research on him though. But he wrote a numerous amount of short piano pieces, string quartet movements, some small orchestras, and one large orchestra, which is called the Im Sommerwind, and it's based on and most of his pieces are based off of poems. So what this poem was based off of one by Bruno Wille. He graduated in 1906 with a doctorate in musicology, and then afterwards he would actually be taught under Schoenberg. And so he formally studied with him from 1904 to 1908, and then continued to work under him till about 1912, about then. But what I think is the most interesting part is the relationship that he had with him. That in the article that I read, it was close. It was considered like a lifelong dedication to devotion to him, actually. And yeah, wow, I was shocked. They're a bit more than friends, I would say, perhaps. Who knows? But one of the quotes is that at times it resembled a love affair, at times worship. There's a lot that had to go with the relationship between the two. At some point, he even, Vierburn actually joined the army to get Schoenberg out of it, which I think was interesting. But after the war, 1920 is when he began to experiment with the 12 note technique, and by 1925 he considered it to be completely clear procedure. So that would eventually be kind of like his thing now. And then towards the end of his life, World War II, his music was banned. His music was banned by in Germany and Austria. It would still be played in other countries, America, Britain, but it wasn't until 1943 when that would be the last time his music would pretty much be performed while he was alive. And then 4 months after the war ended, he went back with his family to basically get away from the bombs in Vienna, and the place that he was staying in would be eventually captured by Russia. And then afterwards, he would actually be shot and killed 4 months after the war ended, due to his son-in-law having some ties with black market activities. So that was his life, which is pretty sad. Um, but now I get to talk about the piece that struck my attention, called Elf Kurzel Stücke, number 4 in A minor. Um, when I researched this piece, there is little to no history in it. There's even a Reddit post asking, what does it say? Looking for a Weirburn piece that doesn't exist. It doesn't really have that much going into it, but there's honestly, I even looked at some articles, very little information, but it did have a lot of views on Spotify, which I think is it's really weird. And so I'm kind of wondering if it had to do with this post or something else that kind of brought it into some sort of popularity out there. But yeah, according to this Reddit post, it was probably before it got even uploaded to Spotify that there was only one supposed video of this song existing, and one of the commenters responded with how he that it was probably, if you look at the CD metadata. Huh, sorry about that. Okay, I'm back. I realized that I'm taking a little bit too long. So what I did notice about this piece of work is that it sort of has a romantic vibe to it, but it's since it's probably taken written around 1904 to 1905, that it's still before the 12 tone notes, but it's still in that time frame where we're transitioning into that modernist take. So it still has influences of romanticism, but there are still some dissonance, some atonal moments in it. Um, so it's a homophonic piece. So there are lower notes and then the higher notes playing together. It's kind of hard to tell whether it is in a major or minor, even though it says it's in minor. It's a little bit difficult to tell what is minor, what is a minor. Even though it all should be, it sounds like there is like major notes in it, which I think is interesting. There's a bit of disjunction in it, and it just sounds not it's not all over the place, but it definitely has an off tone to it. Um, let's see what else. Towards the halfway point, it begins to crescendo up, so it begins to sound louder, and then right after, in the halfway point, it immediately goes down. Notes become a lot less, becomes more quieter, and then it stops almost not abruptly, but it plays both hands and it stops in one hand. And yeah, um, my opinions on his pieces, on his music, I do think they're really enjoyable. I do like the atonal, modernistic approach with how choppy and disjuncted the music sounds. So I really think it's enjoyable and a fun piece. And I think the music obviously reminds me of Schoenberg because he was studied under him. So you can definitely see both the influences that he has on him. And yeah, that's pretty much all for me, guys. So hopefully you all are doing well, and I'll see you all later. Bye.